Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Carrow Road, a sodden Carrow Road. In fact, it's been absolutely tipping it down. They've just put the goals away on the far side. There they are. Look, the substitutes all got basically a kind of training session at the end of today to keep themselves in shape, I suppose. Maybe with it being a late Saturday game, or to try and make sure the squad are up to peak physical condition as much as possible, because it's not been the easiest build up to this game. And Norwich are having to deal with a few fitness concerns at the moment, both in the build-up and, of course, in the aftermath. But you can see I've popped the score down there. Norwich City losing here 1-0 to Manchester United, thanks to a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty. That was it. That was all it took. And I think on the balance of the afternoon, but also the difficulties Norwich have had in the build-up and what they've had to contend with, Norwich a bit pretty unlucky today, I thought, to come away with an actual defeat out of that. I have to admit, I didn't really buy into the idea that Norwich were unlucky to lose 3-0 against Tottenham. I thought that the way they conceded the 2 second goals, the last 2 goals, and although they had good moments, they didn't take their chances. Should they have done better than 3-0? Yes, but they didn't. So you got what you deserved because you didn't take your chances. So this, on the other hand, I feel like on the balance of how that game went, for Norwich to have lost was pretty harsh. Now, I like to think you all know that if in penalty incidences, I call it as I see it. Performances, I call it as I see it. I do these things because I look at both sides. I don't just do this because I'm just watching from a Norwich perspective. And so, every football match has 2 teams in it, and you can't just look at what Norwich are doing and disregard what the other team are doing. You have to take it all into consideration, and you have to kind of try and work out if it's, Norwich affecting the other team, or whether the other team are giving way, and how maybe the causal effects rather than just the impact. So, to put it like this, I thought United were awful, really, for the team they are. The decisions they made, how loose they were with the ball, especially in the final third. I thought they defended pretty well on the most part, but their attacking shapes, Marcus Rashford just looked a bit lost in terms of what he was trying to do. I've never seen Cristiano Ronaldo play in the flesh, so there was a bit of me obviously looking forward to A, being able to say that, and B, being able to see it. I mean, there wasn't much to take away from it, was there? To be honest, apart from him doing an air kick, which I think I gave Josh Sargent stick for a couple of weeks back, and also sort of falling over twice over on the far side and holding his back. And of course, one of the times he went to ground was in the penalty area after about 73, 74 minutes. Which again, I've seen a lot of people, a fair few non-Norwich fans, but they may well hate Manchester United, saying that it wasn't a penalty. Max Aarons clearly has his arms on Cristiano Ronaldo. Dean Smith is adamant that it wasn't enough to bring him to the floor, but I don't really see how you look at the replays of that and think it wasn't a penalty. I have to be honest. To me, Max cannot have both his arms, and he cannot go to make the motion of what looks like throwing Cristiano, or at least nudging him to the floor. You've just got to not do that. It's easier said than done, obviously. But to me, that's a real error that Norwich didn't deserve. And Cristiano's pretty good from the penalty spot, so he obviously took the chance. Then we had a penalty incident in the second half after that, which Dean Smith felt was a decent shout. It looked like a Bailey. It looked like the shot hit his arm from Billy Gilmore, but it was tucked into his body. So that does instantly, for me, make it different to all of the penalties that were given or not given that we discussed at length against Newcastle, because the body was the difference with the one where was it? I can't remember who it was. Kraft, was it? It went down, or Shah. went down against Newcastle. I felt it was a penalty because he could see the ball coming and he leant in. So there was a big look at the ball and he leant in and sort of used his arm to put the ball out for a corner. It looked like he was defending with his arm. This was much more by turning onto the shot and then the shot hitting his arm, which, it did hit his arm. So I think that was much, much harder to be given. So I don't really have an issue with that. It was different to the Newcastle situation for me. VAR didn't appear to check it. I would like to see it again in slow motion, and I haven't really done that properly. So maybe if I get to do that, it might look a bit different to me. But on the face of it, I can kind of take it for what it is at the moment. But they're kind of the main incidences. Away from that, I thought they did really well. I thought they defended well. I thought they looked pretty comfortable in most transition situations. I thought they worked really hard. I thought they pressed where they needed to. And I thought they created some really nice moments. You could actually say that Norwich's big problem now, it's becoming clear, is them taking the chances. But that does sort of emphasize the amount of work Dean Smith has done on them already to get that far. And I saw someone say it, and I agree with it. Norwich have sort of grown up at this level. They look competitive. This was United had a really awkward game. Ralph Rangnick put a lot of Manchester United's shortfalls down to Norwich's intensity, bravery, and how courageous they were. All easy things to say when you still won, obviously, but that is how it panned out on the pitch as well. They made life very difficult for Manchester United, however poor they were. Maybe they made them poor. They certainly had a cause and effect in that to a degree. And you kind of feel, well, look, if Norwich can play like that most weeks here, they will pick up more points than not if they can take some of the chances that they created. The thing about saves and a goalkeeper for me is, what would you think if the goalkeeper conceded that particular shot? That's the way I always look at it. If it's a really good save, you're looking at it thinking, he's done so well, or they've done so well to keep it out. So, for example, Tim Krul's save from Cristiano Ronaldo, I think it was, in the first half, it's a pretty good save. But if he concedes that, you'd be like, Tim. So Kabak's header at the near post, David De Gea is in the right area. He gets across really well. So it's a pretty good save. I thought his one where he stuck his arm out from the first Kabak header was a better save. And there might be another one that I'm forgetting. I think there almost certainly is. And I can't remember that one, but I'm sure that was a good save too. But, David De Gea seems to be most people's man of the match if you're going to give it to someone from United. And certainly he played his part in keeping Norwich out. So, it's a step closer really to what Norwich want to be here, especially. So that's good news. To pick out some names, and if I'm not mentioning them, then I thought they were okay, but I'm not going to mention them. So the names I would pick out for special praise. So Grant Hanley goes off after 20 minutes with what looks like a dislocated shoulder. Dean Smith being particularly coy on that. If it is, he's going to be out for weeks, I would imagine, because the injury will need to heal. His arm was in a sling at the end, and if Grant Hanley can't continue, it's bad. So that's a tough one for Norwich to take, especially given Andrew Omobamidele was out with a stiff back. I think that might be a little while, that one. Ben Gibson was out with what I think Dean Smith said was a tight thigh. I might have to double check that. That one doesn't sound too bad, hopefully. But what I would say is that Ozan Kabak did really well, I thought, today in a lot of what he did. And when Hanley went off, Jakob Sorensen came in. And I must admit, for me, I look at him coming in that position. I think it really suits him. I've seen people sort of say, oh, well, great, get Jakob in now in holding midfield, let's see him play. I think he gets a bit more exposed in terms of his pace in holding midfield and that dynamism that you tend to get. Maybe it's suited because Norwich were sort of, dealing with United from a slight distance and then pushing on. But I thought Jakob, what he does do is read the game really well, which is obviously why he's a good midfielder. So he has a couple of interceptions where he knew where the ball was going. You could see him pick that up. But also he always has used the ball very well. And he probably gets a bit more time to do that in a centre-back role, stepping forward. So what do I know? But I have to say, even if Norwich were down several centre-backs at the moment, I would quite like to see Jakob get a longer go there because I think he could be a really useful asset there. Seamus Wapwaheta made his full Premier League debut. It might even be his first appearance, I think. I can't remember if he's come on now, but certainly his full debut. And there are things clearly to work on. Shemek is a pretty raw player, but loads of good positivity there. And the thing he's got is his physicality is bang on Premier League level. He's incredibly athletic. He's quick. He can run with the ball. Technically, maybe it's and positionally, I think, mostly positionally. Because at one time, the times he got caught out was maybe when someone ran around him or took the ball around and won a one-to-one duel, or got in around behind him when he was just sort of switched off space-wise. But with the ball and everything else, there is a lot to work with Shemek, and I have felt that all through last season as well. And it was nice for him because he went off on the far side when he came off. Got to walk around the perimeter of the pitch and basically got applauded off by all the fans when he walked past. And he sort of mouthed back a thank you, and you then realise, God, he hasn't really played in front of a full house in a Premier League or a league game. So yeah, it's a big moment for Shemek, and I thought there was a lot there to take heart from. So that's promising, because what you're seeing is, although Norwich are lacking some players, so the other one missing today was Christos Jolis. Christos Jolis. I'm not in the business of releasing private medical details first. That's not what the Athletic or what we do. But Dean Smith confirmed today that Christos Jolis had it was his PCR test issue that had kept him out of the team. So I think we can. I think Dean Smith is effectively confirming that Christos Jolis tested positive for COVID and is now going to have to follow the guidelines and self-isolate, which should hopefully be back in, I guess, a week or two. But obviously that is a couple of games, because we've got a midweek game on Tuesday night here, Aston Villa. Who else worth praising? Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, Josh Sargent did well, I thought, today, because in these games where it's about him driving with the ball forward, pressing hard, he can run with the ball. I think he can. He does seem to have a real impact. And again, from that slightly when he drifts wide, again, I think he can have an impact. So he's definitely someone who's got something that Norwich can then utilise if he plays to his strengths. But it does mean a forward who's maybe not likely to score goals. And then you're going to need goals from other parts of the team. Tim Krul did make a couple of... he did one really good tip over. Oh, that was right. David De Gea made a really good tip over as well. A couple of really good tip overs from both goalkeepers, where they could have been caught out as they were backpedaling, in fairness. So we'll call those good saves. And I think that might be it. We got Todd Cantwell coming on at the end, who did okay, won a couple of nice free kicks, but still sent us a bit of a way to go with him. I think we're all there. I think I've covered everything off. Pretty disappointing night, a frustrating night, but there is plenty to work on. I do worry about them not having enough goals to do what they want to do this season at this level. And you see other teams going pretty close in some pretty big games. But, if they keep improving, and the players keep improving, and they don't get really hit for fitness issues, then you never know. And if Norwich are making these teams work, then they are going to make some poorer teams work too hard, and they're going to beat them. 8 wins, I would say, for the rest of the season, maybe 7 to give themselves a chance. United are a really good side. They didn't look it tonight, but they've got so many really good players. Norwich managed to keep most of them in check for the most part. So that is something to at least take forward. They are competitive. They are making people have to work for points. It's a decent starting point. Now they've got to make them work for points and still ensure they don't get them. That's the next stage. Thanks for watching. As always, thanks for all your comments and questions. I'll give them a read as I can as we go through. Look after yourselves. It's obviously a funny old time at the moment, so I hope the football at least helps, and at least we're all still getting to come and watch it if we're comfortable. I will be back here on Tuesday night for Aston Villa's visit, which will be fascinating, because it's probably going to be Emi Buendia's return to Norwich, of course. It's going to be Dean Smith's first game against Aston Villa. I guess he'll get a decent reception from the away supporters. And Steven Gerrard, what are his Villa side? I'm not really sure yet. They probably did okay against Liverpool, but then was that what they were trying to play for? What do they do when they come here? We'll see. It'll be really interesting to see it close hand, because they have got a decent team, so they should be doing better than they are, but we'll see. We can worry about that come Tuesday night, obviously. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. I'll take that score off. We've seen quite enough of that, haven't we? Hope there were no Sue's celebrations or whatever, and no film recordings. There's Matt Usher. Say hello, Matt.
Hi,
there he goes. He's the man who takes all the Norwich City pictures. So doing a sterling job. Right, yes, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all soon. And in the meantime, look after yourselves. I'll read all the comments. I always do. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And in the meantime, have a lovely weekend.